Welcome to VHS Voyage, where you can join our journey to find, watch, and discuss movies on VHS we've never seen or never knew existed. I'm Matt.
I'm Devin.
In today's episode, we're going to talk about
Stop or My Mom Will Shoot.
All right, Devin, are you ready to talk about what might quite possibly be the greatest movie ever made in the history of cinema?
Sure.
Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. You know, me and Devin have really been on the lookout for movies that look so bad that they're going to be good and they're going to make for great, entertaining episodes. And this is a movie that we thought was going to fall under that category because you look at the front cover, you see the title of it, you read the taglines on the front. I mean, listen. Detective Joe, Detective Joe, I can't say his last name, Devin. Detective Joe Bumowski's mom is in town for a visit. She did the laundry, washed the windows, and scrubbed the floors. Now she's gonna clean up the streets. You read that and you think, surely we got a gem on our hands. You think, surely this movie's gonna be so stupid that it's gonna make us laugh and we're gonna have an entertaining episode. Nope. But before we get into all that, Devin, hit us with some facts and information about the greatest movie ever made in the history of cinema.
Directed by Roger Spottiswoode.
Spottiswoode? That's
a
weird last
he also
name.
Directed Turner and Hooch, Tomorrow Never Dies, the James Bond movie.
Yeah.
And The Sixth Day, which was that weird Schwarzenegger movie where he's like cloned himself or something. Or he sees himself as a clone.
Yeah, that was that movie, wasn't it? Yeah.
This had 3 writers. I'm not going to talk about any of the writers. IMDb.
Okay, IMDb for this, I'm going to say 4.5.
It's 4.3, and that's generous.
That is generous.
That's very generous.
That is generous.
Rotten Tomatoes critic and audience is available.
Rotten Tomatoes critic, 20.
Lower.
10.
14.
14, okay.
Again, maybe generous.
Yeah. Audience, I'm going to say 25.
21.
21.
Yeah,
Wow.
Both really low. So this stars Sylvester Stallone and Estelle Getty, who was one of the Golden Girls. So Stallone does say this is the worst movie he's ever done in his career by far. And the man did porn. The man did porn.
Wait, did he really?
Yeah, that's what he did before becoming a big actor.
You're shitting me.
No.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so this man did porn, and this is the worst movie he ever did.
Wow.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, because him and Stallone were rivals at the time, like they genuinely hated each other, like actually hated each other. Schwarzenegger literally made a fake rumor that he wanted to do this movie just so Stallone would be like, no, I want it. So Stallone got his agent to call and be like, get this movie. And Arnold did it just because he knew Stallone would do that. So Arnold played mind games on him to get Stallone to do it. And then now Stallone considers it the worst movie he ever did.
Damn, I didn't realize Arnold Schwarzenegger was such a troll.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Also, here's another really weird thing. Estelle Getty was like, I'm not doing this movie if there's guns in it. So then the producers just lied to her, like, yeah, there's not guns in it. And then when she got to filming, they put guns in it.
She literally shoots a dude in the movie.
Yeah. So they literally just lied to her. And I guess she already signed the contract and everything, so she couldn't get out of it. Roger Ebert called it one of the worst movies he's ever seen in his life. Here's the thing, though. It did not bomb. It made almost $30 million more than its budget. But a couple things to do with that. This was not some random indie movie. This was made by Universal. Mm-hmm. So this was not just like some random movie that came out. Also, it starred Stallone in his peak. So people went to go see the movie.
That makes sense.
This was like early 90s. Also, it came out in February, so no other movies come out. Mm-hmm. Here's a little secret for you people. If you ever watch a trailer for a movie and it looks awful, and then it says coming out in January or February, that means it's literally awful. Because basically these big companies put their movies out in those months because no other movies are coming out. They know it's going to suck, so they just put it out so it'll make money. Yep. That's it. There's nothing else that's coming out.
That makes sense.
So this has become popular in pop culture. There's SNL jokes about it. There's a Simpsons episode that is called Stop or My Dog Will Shoot. In Mortal Kombat 11, Rambo, which is voiced by Stallone, makes jokes about it.
Really?
Stuff like that. So
that's awesome.
So it's kind of become...
It's almost become a meme of itself.
Yeah, basically.
Like I was saying earlier, we got this movie. I don't even remember where we got this one. I don't remember. No. But we got this movie thinking that it was going to make for a gold episode of VHS Voyage in terms of just us laughing our asses off of various scenes. But it wasn't that.
No.
I was extremely bored throughout the entire movie. Dude, extremely bored.
The movie's like an hour and 20 minutes, and I was like, please, let this be. It was the longest hour and 20 minutes of my life.
Sylvester Stallone is a detective named Joe, and his mom comes to town, and his mom is this obnoxious woman that's very annoying and constantly embarrasses him at every turn and gets in his way and insists on being part of this investigation, and I'll get more into that in a minute. So the movie is basically about just him dealing with his mom and how annoying she is throughout the course of the movie while he's trying to investigate a crime that she was a witness to. Because basically what happened was she's staying at his place and she's cleaning his house up and she finds one of his guns and she's like, oh, this thing is filthy. She fucking takes his gun and washes it in the sink in all these chemicals. She takes all these chemicals, like everything under the kitchen sink, and pours it in the sink and fucking scrubs his gun and all these chemicals and ruins it, and he gets upset. And so she goes to buy him a new gun, and she goes to a gun store, and they were like, yo, you gotta wait 2 weeks for like background checks or whatever. And there's this shady looking big old fat dude in there with tattoos, this criminal biker looking dude. And when she leaves the store, he's like, hey, come back here. And they open their van and they've got all these damn illegal guns in their van. And she buys a fucking Uzi from this guy for her son to give him as a gift because she felt bad for ruining his gun. And as she's leaving with the Uzi, she witnesses the people that actually own the guns shooting up the van and killing one of the guys that she bought the gun from. So these are your bad guys in the movie. And so she ends up being witness to a crime, and then her and Sylvester Stallone partner up and they team up to solve the crime together and stop the bad guys. And throughout the course of the movie, Sylvester Stallone is constantly annoyed with his mom, until finally at the end of the movie where they solve the crime together and he comes to terms with her being annoying and decides he wants her to stay with him. That's essentially the story of the movie.
Oh, that was the whole movie right there.
Yeah. Anything you want to add to that?
No.
All right, so what do you want to get into first, Evan? I got a lot of stuff, but what do you want to get into first?
My thing was just how, the opening credits start.
Yeah.
And then it says composed by Alan Silvestri. And I was like, you've got to be shitting me. This man does Avengers, all the Avengers movies.
Really?
He did Back to the Future, which Back to the Future came out like 7-8 years before this.
Yeah.
So he was already super established. Predator, Polar Express. This is like one of the best composers in Hollywood that's made some of the most iconic themes. I think Universal just threw out all their money and was like, let's get Stallone, let's get Silvestri, let's get this guy who's directed other big movies. When I saw Alan Silvestri, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. How did they do this? And then I was like, okay, they just threw out the Universal money.
Yeah. So, all right, I will say, here's my one positive thing about the movie. I did think Estelle Getty's acting was pretty good. I think she did a good job playing an annoying mom. I don't think I have anything good to say about this movie though. It's just like, it wasn't funny.
No.
Even the parts that are supposed to be funny weren't funny.
No.
There were no unintentionally funny parts either.
No, because it was written as comedy. So when it's written as comedy, it's not unintentional, but the comedy just wasn't funny.
Right.
God, it was so bad.
First off, Sylvester Stallone, as a detective, is romantically involved with his lieutenant at the police station. I'm pretty sure that is not something that would fly in real life. That would be a big conflict of interest, but everybody in the station knows.
Yeah.
They try to act like it's a big secret, but everybody in the station knows. Also, his girlfriend doesn't even really act like a police lieutenant.
No. Also, he like gets away with stuff because of this. Yep. That would be a huge, no.
Yeah. I mean, there was one point in the movie where a dude insulted his mom, one of his fellow detectives. He literally picks the guy up and dunks his head in a toilet and gives him a swirly or whatever you call it.
That was one of the dumbest things I've ever seen.
So stupid, dude.
Not funny. I'm like, what? Who wrote this?
Right.
Did a 7-year-old write this movie?
At the beginning of the movie, Sylvester Stallone's trying to get a hold of his mom. I don't even know why he was calling her so much. Did it even explain why he was trying to get a hold of her?
Well, was it because he knew she was coming in on the trip?
That might be it.
Yeah.
That might be it. So he picks her up at the airport, and this is your first introduction to Estelle Getty as his mom. As soon as she comes out of the airplane, everybody's coming out of the airplane and they're laughing at him and making fun of him because apparently the whole time she was on the plane, she was telling everybody on the plane embarrassing stories about him and showing them photos of him naked as a kid.
Yeah, okay. There's something really weird in this scene too.
Yeah.
A woman comes out of the airplane and she tells Stallone that he was sexy when he was a kid.
Yeah, she did.
She makes like a pedo joke.
She did. You're right.
We've got to be getting along now, Tootie, but thanks a lot for showing us the photos. You know, you looked real sexy in those diapers.
He responds to, as they're on their way from the airport, he responds to a call where there's a jumper on a building, a guy that's fixing to commit suicide and jump off a building, and he's got his mom with him, but he has to get to the scene. So he gets there and he's like, Mom, you stay here, I'll handle this. And he goes up the building, he gets in the room with the guy, he gets on the ledge, and he's trying to talk the dude down. And his mom finds out from one of the officers that the guy was upset about getting in a fight with his mom or something. So she gets a megaphone and starts trying to talk this guy down. But instead of talking him down, she's just telling embarrassing stories about Joe, Sylvester Stallone's character. And eventually this guy's like, dang, I thought my mom was bad. And then he decides not to kill himself.
This is a real movie.
Oh, man.
This movie actually happened.
Hey, let's talk about just how annoying his mom is. She's pretty damn annoying. I got a list of things that I wrote down here. She judges his house for being dirty. She starts vacuuming in the middle of the night while the dude's trying to sleep. She washes his gun in the sink and ruins it like we talked about earlier. Then the next morning he wakes up and she's pointing the damn gun at his face.
And she goes, stop, make your bed.
Stop.
That's literally the line.
Go ahead, make your bed.
She treats him like a kid throughout the entire movie. She walks in on him showering, sees his naked body, and she's like, oh, it's not like I haven't seen it before. You haven't seen him as a man naked.
Don't expand. Don't expand.
I just don't get that.
You're going to be like that woman on that plane.
She forces him to eat like 4,000 calories of breakfast, like everything you can think of breakfast food. She forces him to eat it. Okay, let's talk about the dream sequence. Joe has a dream where there's a bank robbery in progress, and he gets to the bank robbery and he's like, I got this. And he's, taking care of the bad guys, and the robbery ends and his mom comes out, and I can't remember what she did. His mom comes out and she's like, it's time to change your diaper. And then the camera cuts to him and it's Sylvester Stallone standing there wearing nothing but a diaper.
Mommy's gotta change you.
Mommy, I don't want to be changed.
I've gotta change you.
I got something that kind of connects to that.
Okay.
That connects to that scene. The product placement in this movie. I have a list, okay?
Yeah.
There's a scene where he opens a suitcase, a bunch of dull pineapples fall out, and then the mom's like, they're better in the can. and it's like close-up shot on the dull pineapples. When she's cleaning the gun, she goes, oh, Clorox will be good, and she holds a giant thing of Clorox up to the camera. When he's eating all that food at breakfast, she slams out, she goes, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. She goes, you know what would be great? A bowl of Cocoa Puffs. And she shows the Cocoa Puffs in front of the camera. It's so obvious. Yeah. And then going to your scene, they made sure it was very clear that it was Huggies diapers.
Huggies.
And also she pours baby powder on his butt or whatever. And she's like, oh, it's Johnson & Johnson.
Wow. You know what? I didn't even notice all that, but you're right. Now that you're mentioning it, I remember now there are a lot of just like in your face product placements in there. And I mean, look, I get why they did it, because to try to add comedy to the movie, but the fact that his mom teams up with him on several occasions in very dangerous situations where she could have got killed, that was just a little, they could have done that in a way to where it could have been hilarious, but it just wasn't, dude. It just wasn't funny.
Also, the joke over and over of stay in the car, and she just keeps coming at it. That got so old. I was like, can y'all think of a more creative thing to do? Every time he just goes, stay here, stay in the car, and all of a sudden she just appears. They do it 15 times.
And then another thing that was weird. So the big guy that she bought the gun from, the one that got away that didn't get killed, he randomly breaks in his house. And then he's like, oh, I wanted to come help you or something.
And then she just keeps hitting him over the head with a frying pan.
Major bummer.
Oh, by the way, she just leaves his knocked out frying pan, almost half dead body laying in his house, and they never mention him again.
There's one scene where some of the bad guys get away and she's driving in pursuit with Sylvester Stallone in the car, and she's like causing wrecks all around her, causing property damage, almost hitting and killing people on the street.
You know what I find hilarious too? One of those bad guys,
Yeah.
one of the henchmen, is the dude from Jurassic Park that like runs in the porta potty and gets eaten by the T-Rex.
You're right.
So
Yeah.
the whole time I just kept picturing him in Jurassic Park. I was
Yeah.
like, why is he in this movie?
Yeah. At one point, Sylvester Stallone like locks her in the police car. She gets on the police radio, and the guy's like, "Oh, sure, I'll help you break out of the car." The police officer she talked to, he's like, "Oh, you're his mom. I'll help you break out of the car."
Yeah.
Also, let's talk about one of the villain's plans. And I don't even know why he did this. He's trying to act like he's writing a suicide note for himself to try to make the authorities think he's dead. And he has one of his henchmen write a suicide note too. And then he's like, ooh, the bad guy, the villain's like looking out the window like there's something out there. And he's like, here, can you sign your suicide note? And he's like looking out the window, and the henchman comes over, and he's like, because he's like, I wonder what he's looking at out the window. And he sticks his head out the window right after signing this suicide note, and then the villain just pushes him out the window.
That's the Jurassic Park guy.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that's the Jurassic Park guy he throws out the window.
Why do these villains have such shitty plans, dude? Any other thing you want to talk about before we get to our kind of closing thoughts on them?
I wish my mom would shoot me after watching this, honestly.
So it's safe to say this is not going to be a keeper.
God, no.
So you know what that means, folks. One of you unlucky viewers can win this in a giveaway. So if you want to enter that giveaway, go to VHS.Voyage on Instagram. There will be a link to that in the description down below, where you can find the post to enter the giveaway for Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. Very easy to enter, and the drawing will be exactly 1 week from the day this video goes live. So if you want to win this in a giveaway, go on VHS.Voyage and enter that. Well, that's it for today's episode of VHS Voyage, folks. I'm Matt.
I'm Devin.
We'll catch you guys in the next episode.